This debate is sponsored by the Commission on Presidential Debates. Tonight's 25 minutes will be about domestic and foreign issues and will follow a format designed by the Commission. There will be 7 question segments with 1-minute answers for the question, then open discussion between the candidates for the remainder of each segment. Thousands of people offered suggestions on segment subjects or questions via the internet and other means, but I made the final selections. The audience here in the hall has promised to remain silent, no cheers, applauses, boos, hisses, among other noisy, distracting things, so we may all concentrate on what the candidates have to say. There is a noise exception right now, though, as we welcome Senator Scott Bradford, Governor Jack Walker, and Ms. Caroline Sawyer. Welcome, all of you. Let's start segment 1 and let's begin with terrorism. What are the major differences between the three of you about the lessons we need to take from America's war in Iraq? If you think the war was a mistake, how will you conduct our foreign policy to avoid a repeat of that experience? Each of you will have 2 minutes to start, and a coin toss has been determined. And Caroline Sawyer, you go first.
Okay, so with the war, I learned that not every issue with our side of the country should end with a war. At times, the war was necessary, but there are many ways to end rivalries without having to fight other countries.
Senator Scott Bradford, can you please respond directly to what Ms. Sawyer has just said about her approach in terms of the war in Iraq?
The war against Iraq lasted entirely too long, from March 2003 to December 2011. We had fought endlessly to come out to an end to this violence. The lesson we have learned is that once you go to war, we have to focus about other priorities as well as the war. During the Iraq War, President Bush was only focused on the war. It made people feel as if America didn't care about the nation and only care about fighting. To prevent something like this from happening again, we will have a convention with Iraq to come to a common ground and form a treaty.
Excellent. Governor Walker, please respond.
As a moderate conservative, I will admit the Iraq War was a mistake. It was a senseless waste of lives and resources. Yes, I know it sounds ironic coming from a conservative, knowing the mastermind behind it was a conservative, George Bush. But let me remind you, that was over a decade ago. I, as potential commander-in-chief, will make better and wiser decisions. When going to war, unlike Bush, we will go out to war with a specific purpose. All of our troops will be ready, and no man will be left behind.
So while we're on the topic of terrorism, Senator Scott Bradford, your viewpoint is very different than your opponent and Governor Walker. Do you think realistically we can kill all the terrorists? And specifically, with this new threat of ISIS, how do you plan on trying to do that? Or if you don't plan on trying to do that, what exactly is your plan?
We do not think it's realistic. It will take a lot of time to kill all terrorists. It will be a waste of time. And by doing this blindly, we might kill innocent people. And my plan is to have a convention, sit down and have a talk with Iraq, and then form a treaty to not let this happen again, or to prevent others, like terrorists, from attacking our country.
Walker, you want to respond to that?
You got to understand, ISIS is different. They kill for territory. They want to become a state. However, they are hurting innocent lives. And they want to stop. They won't stop till they get what they want. Us as Americans, it's our duty to stop them. We may not kill every single terrorist, but they will wish they were dead. And it's simple. Our plan is to make them surrender.
Sawyer?
I didn't personally feel like it was realistic to be able to kill every single terrorist. However, it is possible to kill, a enough of them to stop the whole ISIS situation and to keep, people to be civilized and not have to worry about it.
And do any of you want to respond to each other's policies on this particular issue? Okay. So let's turn now to domestic policy. Senator Bradford, does the U.S. government owe each person a house, a meal, a college degree, and health care they require? You spoke a lot at the Democratic Convention about your education policy in particular, but also this idea of equality. And some people are a little bit concerned about this idea that everybody should be owed something. So if you could speak a little bit on that for us.
Everyone deserves to be safe. The government should help people feel safe by providing health care and proper education. However, things such as meals and housing cannot be just handed to people. Citizens will have to work hard for that. We will try our hardest to make sure that people who are unable to work due to physical or mental disabilities are taken care of and given meals and housing. But with the amount of debt that we're in, we cannot afford to provide for everyone in the nation.
Ms. Sawyer.
So, felt like that the government doesn't really owe anybody anything like that. It's not a right, it's more so a privilege to have health care and food and housing and not health care, but food, housing and to help out with college degrees and stuff like that. It's a privilege. The government doesn't need to help people. Like, it should be more so people should be trying to earn it on their own instead of depending on us to be working for them.
Governor Walker, you're nodding your head. Can you please respond to Ms. Sawyer's
Yes,
comments?
I'm gonna elaborate on that a little bit more. So, if you give a man a fish, he'll eat for a day. But if you teach him how to fish, he'll eat forever. Unlike Bradford, us conservatives are willing to teach and show you how to live an independent life and not to rely on others for your personal survival and success. You will be the one surviving and succeeding if you are willing to work.
I want to say something. We don't only want to help everybody. We will help only the people that need the help. Physical and mentally disability people. That's the people that we want to help to be provided, because not everyone that is mentally or physical, that has mental or physical disabilities can work. So that's why we want to help them, so they can have a comfortable life.
So you're just going to turn away everybody else that wants it or needs it because they're not mental or physically disabled?
Not really. They have the capacity to be independent.
But your words were that
That's
you're
why
only looking to help those who have mental or physical disabilities.
Yeah, it sounds like you want to create something that we just rely on. We can't rely. We're supposed to be independent. We have to do it for ourselves.
Physical and mental disabled people, they don't have that education. They're not able to learn. How are they gonna, achieve and have a better life when they cannot work? They cannot afford to have a comfortable life.
I'm going to actually end the open discussion at this point, but we are segueing into our next point kind of naturally, which is great. Governor Walker, obviously you and Ms. Sawyer are presenting some real concerns with Bradford's policy, and specifically during the Republican convention, you spoke about your concerns for America, and you highlighted a lot of the Democratic Party idea of the Republicans being this party of no, and you really kind of took their statement of you being the party of no, and you really broke it down in what you would say no to as commander-in-chief and leader of America. So if you could just elaborate a little bit more on what your greatest fear or concern for our country is at this moment, and what you think and how you think you're going to prevent that in the next 4 years if you're elected.
My greatest concern for our country is going to another recession. America is in debt. We just can't keep giving money away. The national debt has continued to increase on an average of 2.27 billion per day. Since September 30th, 2012, national debt has increased more under Obama than under Bush. Why is that? Okay, hold on. Let me answer that for you. It is simply because Bradford thinks it's a good idea to give a man a fish every day instead of teaching him how to fish. Well, look how that turned out. 2.7 billion per day. This can be prevented, but it starts with picking up a rod.
Senator Bradford, I think that next one was for you.
My greatest concern is as well as he said, economy. Right now we are in $17 trillion in debt. As president, I will work to lower the amount of debt that we are in by changing the welfare system so that it isn't easy to take advantage of, and creating jobs that felons or people without much experience will be eligible for.
Ms. Sawyer?
I like them. My concern is the gun laws and gun control. Because there's the amount of guns that's on the street that are not just being distributed from like gun bureaus and stuff like that. They're out there and people can get them without a problem. So what I'm planning to do was to make strict policies for those who don't follow, and even worse ones for repeat offenders. Anyone caught buying the gun or with the gun from the streets will be fined, and guns must be bought from licensed people within the stores. And even though like there's no age restriction within the government, I feel like it should be raised to 21 instead of 18.
Okay. This is sort of just a question that, just a little bit more of a get to know you question for you guys. But can you guys talk about and whoever wants to jump in first, can you speak a little bit on a specific moral, political, or economic thinker who's impacted your views? And I think that'll help the American public kind of get more of a sense of who you are. And Bradford, you can start first if you'd like.
President Franklin D. Roosevelt, he inspired me to become a politician. His confidence and optimism guided us through possibly the worst crisis that America has ever been through. However, he acknowledged that, along with the rest of the world, America isn't a perfect place, and we still need improvement before it is as perfect as we possibly could be.
A more modern person who had the most impact on my views is Governor Chris Christie. Him being a Republican, he showed a lot of progress in the state of New Jersey. He created a well-working health care for people in New Jersey. And from my understanding, it's more successful than the Obamacare. The work he is doing is noticed and appreciated.
Sawyer?
Mine would be Bush, because he messed up so bad and put our country in debt, and he took us to a war that just left America in a bad place. So I felt like everything that he's done has not been fixed yet, and I would like to be able to contribute and help to fix all the issues that he has brought to us.
Okay, different spin on that one. Okay, candidates, for the sake of time, I'm going to ask you a series of questions, and please just respond with a yes or no answer. There's no explanation required, just a very simple yes or no. And I'm just going to sort of go right down the line. So, Governor Walker, I'm going to start with you. Did you vote for President Obama in the 2008 election?
No.